I hope you understand how important food is in order to live a quality life. When I moved here in Norway, I think the biggest culture shock, or one of the biggest culture shocks, was about food. And I come from Italy. So I lived maybe, hopefully, not so unique childhood growing up, but I understand how unique it could be. Because like a bit of backstory, so you understand maybe more. My grandparents, they weren't like super rich. So especially my grandma, growing up, she lived with her whole family. They have animals, they had crops, and so growing up, they always had their own vegetables. And when she lived with my grandpa, they moved literally behind the house of the mother. Like they all always lived in community, and they still had their own crops, their own fruits, their trees, and etc. So they always had very healthy food, just so close in the back garden, and they had like a big field of crops. And so growing up, I always had the best vegetables, the best fruit, because we had them of our own and for free. It was a lot of hard work, yes, and but it was there, like free growing. It was so incredible, so tasty crops, so tasty vegetables, fruit, and I have to say maybe I was a little bit spoiled because not everyone can have this or grew up with like a family having of crops. And so my grandparents, my grandma, she also loved cooking. So she would always cook delicious food, nutritious food, and always seasonal. And I've been talking today with some friends, and we talked exactly about food. And we all are Italian girls living in Norway. And we actually all have the same opinion or like feedback. Or shock, culture shock, because when we've been living here for now like 6, 7, 8 years, and we see how much Norwegian people eat frozen, ultra processed food. Like, it was kind of like a joke when we moved here that the top one consumed food in Norway is this frozen pizza called Grandiosa. And it was a joke, but not so far away from reality. And then you see, like, globally, how many cases of like cancer and these diseases that we're now discovering are caused by, correlation does not mean causation. So, but yes, of course, some of it is because the medicine has gotten so good that we can diagnose these diseases, sicknesses much earlier and easier. But we still compared to Italy, like Norway and Italy in particular, because we are from Italy living in Norway. Medicine in Italy is just so good, so advanced. We have among the best doctors in the world, and in Norway as well, the medicine is just so advanced. It's just like there's so many smart people and smart doctors making so many good advancements. So, but then we thought about, we hear there are so many more cancer cases that we heard about here in Norway. I know the population is just much smaller, so maybe there must be some biases here and there. Like I'm not basing this on specific researches or anything or data, but just like from my experience in Italy, it was just so rare for me to hear about cancer cases with my friends and the family and everything. Like, thank God, knock on wood, but I just look at the people and think about their lifestyles and my family's lifestyle, like my grandma's lifestyle in particular. She's 85 years old and healthy. Thankfully, she doesn't have any degenerative sickness, and she didn't have any like serious problems. So I'm just so thankful for that. But then you look at her lifestyle. She grew up with a super healthy lifestyle, having always like animals of their own and crops of their own, and that's the way she lived most of her life. And also now that she doesn't have the crops anymore, she still keeps on eating seasonally, which is something that I think we've lost in like more modern generations. But she still keeps eating the seasonal vegetables, and she knows what are the seasonal vegetables, seasonal fruits and everything, and it's something that we've lost. And then you look at other people, like there were these cases of like these two people close to us that unfortunately like they were super wealthy, they still are. So unfortunately, the man passed away, the woman is still alive, but she has Alzheimer, which is so sad. And the man, I don't know what problem he had, like I don't want to share too much as well, like keep him privacy, but he wasn't doing good. And unfortunately, he died last year. And his wife, she has Alzheimer. And then you look at their life, they were super wealthy. And then you notice that they were going to the restaurants often, and since like they were like the husband was so busy, and the wife didn't want to cook so often, then they would always eat frozen processed food, always. And then you see that, you know, they're kind of like the same age of my grandma, and then you see how they're doing now in the old age, very bad. And then my grandma, she's super healthy, super fit, and she plays cards all the time. And then you can see really the difference. But he was so like people close to us. But then unfortunately you see what, of course there are like genetic factors that influence, but just by looking at the effects of ultra processed food, like we can't ignore that. And now me and my girls, we were talking about it and the culture shock of Norway, how they eat so much processed food. They have so many candies, like smågodt is almost like a weekend tradition. Like every Saturday kids are allowed to eat all this smågodt. Smågodt is like candies, like gummies, candies. They can eat all of that. And there's so much chocolate culture. Like I've never seen so many chocolates. Like in Italy, I would never eat candies, like ever. I would never eat chocolate, like maybe during Easter, and we would just make candy stuff like cakes and everything only for like birthdays or like Christmas, Easter, you know, things like this. But other than that, we rarely ate any chocolates, chips only for birthdays. Processed food, never. We never would buy ultra processed like frozen pasta. Are you kidding me? It takes so little to make pasta. Why would you buy it frozen? I'm shocked. Like, that's what shocks me so much. Like here in Norway, I've seen so many people just buying frozen pasta that it literally takes 7 minutes to make. So easy, so fast. Like you can have such a much healthier lifestyle if only you would take the time to learn how to do things. I understand that I'm lucky. I grew up in Italy, in Rome, and there is so much food around there's so much culture around food. And I grew up like learning, you know, Roman recipes, and my grandma, she loves to cook, and she taught me like a few tips and tricks. She left me like a cookbook as well. She wrote a cookbook by hand. Oof, amazing. And here I just don't see that, like the food culture is not so strong, and that's why I understand maybe people don't want to cook, or many people eat like canned food here in Norway. And I have to say the meat is not the best, and if you want meat, it's so expensive. Well, in Italy you have your, you know, local butcher, and you would buy like the meat from there. You know that the cows are grown in a healthy way, they eat good food, and they're treated good. And same for chickens. Like the neighbor of my grandma, she had chickens, and she would just still give chickens to like everyone living close by, you know. And still, like, for these little things, it's like I feel that in Norway I don't have the possibility to get a good variety of food, or like vegetables, fruits, and everything. Not the best quality. Like, I never buy big tomatoes here because they're just water. I always buy the cherry tomatoes because they have some taste. And I don't know, I don't want to say it's sad, because of course this is different cultures, different climates. Like, I understand why everything is more expensive here. Like, there's mountains everywhere, forests everywhere. I guess it's difficult to have, like, you know, a place where cows can grow and graze, while in Italy it's just so many possibilities, you know, for like cows, sheep. There's so... I'm gonna stop here. Go back to the point that I wanted to make, is that a big culture shock for me was that here in Norway, so many people have a healthy lifestyle, like going to the gym, training so often, you know, doing a lot of sports, winter sports especially. But then you look at what they eat. And me and these girls, we compare, like, from our experience, and it's always the same. Like, for lunch, they always have this like bread with a pepper bell, cheese, and insakati. Insakati is like boxed ham, you know, this ham in the box that has a lot of like conservants to preservatives. Has a lot of has a lot of preservatives, you know, and we all know that's not good for you. Like, these type of foods, they're not healthy, but still here it's so, like, they have it every day. They have it every day. That's the thing. And for them, a lunch is bread with cheese and ham, or like salami and paprika. Paprika is like bell pepper. And for me, that was a shock. Because for me, that is just like a snack. This is not a lunch. That's not like, there's not... Lunch for me is like a warm meal, especially in winter. But like, it's like, could be a salad in summer, but we're going we're going away from the main topic. It's like, it's a proper meal. You know, my grandma, till today, her whole life, her meals were always with like, to start, we have like a pasta. And then we have the first dish. And then we have the second dish. The second dish is meat and veggies. And then you have the fruit. Like, that has always been the case her whole life. Well, here we only have, like, you know, we have to make it easier because we can't, like, we don't have... I understand we don't have the time to do that all the day, every day. Like, that's what grandma did all day, every day, her whole life, you know. But it's not difficult to make healthy, nutritious foods and not eat ultra processed. Like, to be honest, like in that tiny sandwich, there's so many ingredients that are ultra processed. The salami, like the ham with all the preservatives, or the leverpostei. Leverpostei is like this paste, and yeah, sure, it's like meat, it's healthy, but like, it's ultra processed. It's ultra processed. Like, let's face the facts. And for me, that is not, like, I just can't see myself eating those things as a meal. So, and I think like food and meals are so important. They're like the fuel for your body. And if you don't give your body the right nutritious, the right nutritious foods or the right nutrients, it's not gonna work good. And then you have degenerative illnesses. Of course, training is part of, you know, having a healthy lifestyle. But if with the healthy training, you then have ultra-processed frozen pasta or frozen pizza, or like candies every weekend and chocolates whenever you want, I would say that kind of nullifies. While in Italy, yes, there might not be like the biggest training culture, you know, like, but we do play a sport like soccer. It's just, you know, so popular. But I feel like that was a big culture shock. Like here, you see people running in the Sunday morning, Monday morning, every day with the snow, with the ice. They don't care, and that's so nice of them. Italians, maybe we don't train like that drastically as Norwegians do, but we do have a better like food culture. And that I think is what is like gives us, you know, the best type of lifestyle, which I think is healthy, because food is the fuel. If you train and you burn the fuel that is not good for you, it's like, it's not working to me. So there should be a balance, as always. Like, I strive to reach the middle ground. Like, don't go the extremes, because that's also not so good. Just like, as you can have like too much of something, and that's not good. Also too little of something, that's not good. That's the extremes. We should have a little bit of everything. And I think food is so important. Like, take some time to make good, nutritious, delicious food. And it doesn't take a long time. Like, I'm going to start a playlist where I'm going to teach you all I can teach of easy, simple, good food that are not ultra processed. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Stay away as much as you can from ultra processed foods. It's so simple. And I understand it's not in everybody's culture to have like simple meals with simple ingredients, nutritious ingredients that are like this, like just whole foods, you know. I don't see it so often around the world, or like, haven't traveled, so I experience so much culture, I have to say. But like, I don't see it here in Norway. So I do want to share this, because I think if you didn't have the opportunity or the chance to have my kind of like lifestyle growing up, where I had like crops everywhere, and like my grandma and my parents teaching me, you know, like how to make food from like delicious meals from scratch, and like raw vegetables and whole foods, then I can teach you. So stay tuned. Stay tuned and hopefully you're gonna be able to learn how to make pesto from scratch, pasta from scratch. It's not difficult. It's takes just a little bit of time. But I promise you, the time that you spend into making this like simple foods, and the money, maybe it's gonna cost a little bit more money than just buying a ready-made pasta, you're gonna save it in like medical treatments later, because you're gonna be healthier. Trust me.